We'll just take mine.
Good afternoon. It's Monday, April 24th, 4 p.m., and we'd like to welcome everybody to the Ottawa City Commission study session. We'll start with public comments. Do we have any today?
None today.
Great, thank you. That'll move us on to items to be placed on the regular City Commission agenda, which is the minutes from our April 10th study session. Commissioners, did you have a chance to read those? Are there any changes? Okay, would you like to move those on to our regular agenda?
Yep.
We'll do that. Thank you. All right, items for presentation and discussion. Item 1 is the proclamation recognizing May as Community Action Month. Commissioners, did you have a chance to read that? You want to move that on to the agenda also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item 2 is a request for rezone of property at 901 South Cherry from R1 HO-O District to R3. Jenna, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That's not a good start.
That's all right.
Okay, so you can go on to the next slide, please. This is a request, as you said, to rezone from R1, that's a housing opportunity overlay district, to R3, which is high-density residential. At 901 South Cherry, this is to allow for student housing to be built in support of Ottawa University students. The recommendation is denial of rezoning it to R3, and approval for rezone to R2, maintaining the HOO. And there is precedent for this in our zoning regulations for Planning Commission to recommend a lesser zoning, so they can start at R3 and they can recommend R2 to R1. And that is what we landed on at the Planning Commission meeting. So you can go to the next slide. This parcel is approximately 5.7 acres and is currently zoned R1 Housing Opportunity Overlay District. It is located on Cherry Street between 9th and 10th and is 2 blocks east of Ottawa University campus. The site is currently undeveloped land. The applicant intends to repurpose the site into a mix of student housing and multifamily apartments. The room mix has not been finalized at this time. The applicant is anticipating accommodations for 30 to 50 students, some of which will be apartments available to non-students. There will be adequate off-street parking as set forth by the regulations. So the student housing requires 1 parking space per bed, as opposed to, you're jumping way ahead. One parking space per bed, as opposed to what this could be developed as, where they don't have to have 2 parking spaces, off-street parking for a house. So this, if there were 30 to 50 rooms, then there would be 30 to 50 off-street parking. So we wouldn't have any of the on-street parking situations that you might normally see. So within the current zoning regulations, this applicant would not be able to use the lot for multifamily dwelling or for dormitories. In order to develop the parcel, it'll need to be rezoned. So the existing conditions, we can leave it here. This this shows the zoning of the area. So we have the public use, which is where Ottawa University is currently located. It's the light green, and our colors aren't very they're very close together, so it's hard to see. But to the north there, those are R2. That slightly darker blue is R2, and then we have the manufactured homes, which are the pinks, and then R1, which is our low-density residential, is what's to the south and to the west of this parcel. This one is zoned, like we've mentioned, the Housing Opportunity Overlay District. And what that means is that as it's currently zoned, the Housing Opportunity Overlay District allows for smaller parcels and smaller setbacks. So it can be built closer together. So we could fit more on this block than what would traditionally be in this residential area. I'm sure I'm covering all this stuff. I'm sorry, this is some dry reading, but I don't want to miss anything. So with the student housing in R1 is not allowed as a conditional use. Our recommendation is that this be R2 with a conditional use permit to allow for the student housing, which is allowed in R2. And then what this does is would give us the opportunity for him to bring the plans for the development of the student housing to us before he designed it. So we would go through another process of coming to Planning Commission and then back to you, so that we were able to address city concerns and those of the residents in this design process. And this would allow us to have more opportunity to have a conversation. And also, if it's zoned R3, our concern was if the project was, as they sometimes do, not completed, we're walking away and this is zoned R3 and anybody can come in and build an apartment complex without coming to us first. So this is a happy medium between, it still allows us to have a conversation about what can move forward and be there, and also address the community's concerns as well. So we can move on.
Jenna, on that point, real quick.
Yes.
So the applicant is requesting to rezone to R3.
Correct.
Has the conversation been had with the applicant about the suggestion that you guys had for R2 instead?
Yes, we've discussed it.
And I'm sure that probably went through the planning commission and all that too?
Correct.
Okay, just
Yes.
making sure. Thank you.
We can go ahead to the next slide. So what we're talking about today is the rezoning, but we can't do that without having without knowing what we're talking about here. So this is the property as it sits right. It's one of the plans, the potential layouts for what this could look like. So one of the consistent concerns voiced during the public hearing was the flood area. We can go on to the next slide. And this is the floodplain map. So as you can see, part of this parcel is still in the floodplain. There was some work done recently to elevate this parcel out of the floodplain, but some of it does still sit there. One of the things that would be required for with this development and the CUP would be stormwater studies, also traffic and impact studies like that. And so with this, he would be able to address the flooding that's already existing there and potentially alleviate some of that. One of the goals with the floodplains, with the flood studies is, or the stormwater studies, sorry, is to prevent there from being more water running off than is currently there. There needs to be, to not have any impact. So hopefully with that design, it wouldn't be any worse, that he would be able to improve on the condition there in this area. You can go into the next one, I'm sorry. So we do review 13 factors when considering a rezone. These are the ones that I'm going to highlight. I'm not going to go through all 13 unless you want me to. They're on the slides there at the end. We can go that far if you want to go all the way into this. But these are the four that stood out. Rezoning is necessary because of changing needs and conditions in the city. R2, this rezoning is the best zoning option for the property and land use and requires city approval of development. Proposed zoning is compatible with the uses and zoning of surrounding properties and meets the comprehensive plan goals to support development of affordable and appropriate housing for all segments of the community and promoting housing and quality to diversity. We can go on. Thank you. The staff finding here, proposed amendment is made necessary due to changing conditions in the city and the demand for additional multifamily as well as student housing in Ottawa. The current zoning of this tract, low-density residential with a housing opportunity overlay, allows for more concentration than R1 and R2 standards, but in this zoning, student housing is not permitted. The need for it and their proximity to this location, to the university, makes this an ideal location for student housing project. R2 and R3 zoning would permit development of student housing. You can go on. Thank you. whether the proposed amendment, it would be in conformance to and further enhance the implementation of the city comprehensive plan. The future land use plan and the comprehensive plan identifies this property as low-density residential. The proposal is not in conformance with the future land map. However, it does meet Goal 4 in the comprehensive plan promoting housing equality and diversity. The City of Ottawa is growing in ways that were unforeseen when the comprehensive plan was drafted. There is a larger need for housing than anticipated. If the need for student housing were to be addressed, the spaces that students currently are renting could become available to the public, shifting the current use of the housing stock. The zoning and surrounding land use is arguably fitting with the underdeveloped neighborhood and meets the comprehensive plan's stated goal to improve the availability of multifamily housing. Next slide, please. Or did you already do it? Okay. So our staff finding here, the Planning Commission and staff finds that rezoning would be a gain to the general welfare of the public and would promote growth in the area that has been underdeveloped land and would address the flooding in this area with thoughtful development being guided by stormwater study. Aside from adding more housing to the city, the development of this land would ensure that it is maintained and not returned to overgrown state. Overgrown lots have a history of becoming littered and dump sites and can also be contributing factors to crime in the area. So at our Planning Commission regular meeting on April 12th, Planning Commission heard 9 public comments regarding this item. There were no direct opposition to rezone, but there were, however, opposition to allowing student housing development in the neighborhood. Most stated concerns were regarding the following. Traffic contributing to accelerated deterioration of old brick streets in the neighborhood. New parking and development increasing flooding in the area that already suffers from flooding. Apartments being inconsistent with the current neighborhood characteristics. Additional traffic in both human and vehicular traffic would cause safety issues. Planning Commission and staff believe that through the conditional use permit and that process of reviewing the development and following those guidelines, we also have the opportunity to, it is a conditional use, we have the opportunity to put conditions on this. So this route allows us more opportunities to direct the development. And we feel we could address a lot of these issues and concerns and at least come to kind of a happy medium with these things. And finally, so staff recommends that we not rezone to R3, as we think that would be a spot zoning and inconsistent with the neighborhood, and also, as I stated before, leaves it wide open for development to unwanted or development to come in that we wouldn't be able to have those conversations about. And R2 does allow for us to be able to meet the needs that meet the developer's desire to build the student housing. He does have support from OU to do this. And with the conditional use, I think it's a win-win for both city and the public. So that is our recommendation on that one. Would you like to have me read you any of the other findings?
Commissioners, do you have any desire to hear any of the other findings from Jenna at this point?
I think, and for right now, just to clarify, because I'm
Sure.
sure there's a lot of information, this is
It is.
just a rezone. Has nothing to do with any building. That
No.
would still be a whole separate process down the line.
Yes,
So today is
correct.
just to rezone to R2.
R2, yes. I'd like to maintain the housing overlay district as well, in case he's not able to develop it, there's still opportunities.
Mm.
Decision and the ordinance that's in front of them.
There,
Can we do that?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
I can't hear what you're saying, so.
So as part of the process, the Planning Commission held the public hearing, and they made a determination that they agreed to move this to the City Commission. And so what's provided for you in the packet and what your decision is in front of you, should you choose to move this to your next regular meeting, would be an ordinance, which would confirm the recommendation that's being made to you. And I believe that our city attorney, Mr. Finch, could talk to you a little bit more about the process if you need that. Or if you have more questions, we're happy to answer. But at this point, it's been through Planning Commission. The public has been heard through a public hearing process. And then also, we're here to answer any questions that you have. The rest of the findings have all been provided to you. If you would like to either read through those, we can also come back to you at the next study session and answer any questions you have then, or continue the conversation, whichever way you'd like to proceed.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for either Jenna or Director Landis? Mr. Finch, would you like to add anything to this, please?
I would just note that state law and local zoning regulations in Section 26 allow for this table of lesser changes. If you think about it, an R3 is the least restrictive residential zone that we have in the community, and R1 is the most restrictive because it says that's single family only. So if an applicant makes a request, as they did in this case for an R3, and the Planning Commission decides that they want to do something that is more restrictive, a lesser change, that does not require a new public hearing. So we talked about quasi judicial functions the other day, and when you're making a zoning regulation or a determination, there is a public hearing requirement that notice has to be given. That is all done at the Planning Commission level on this one, and there is no secondary hearing required. So this is like any other rezone that might come to you, even though it's a little different in that Article 26 provision was used, and the Planning Commission decided to slide from an R3 to an R2. You are ready to make a determination if you want to, and remember, you have the 3 determinations available: approve, reject, or send back for further consideration. All of those options are available to you, and we can talk through if there's a different vote margin if you choose to reject the Planning Commission's work here. If you intend to approve it, you don't need any other public hearing in order to move that to your agenda at a regular meeting and do so.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for either Jenna or Director Landis?
Nope.
Do you have any questions for the applicant? I know he's here. Or even our Planning Commission Chair. He is available, I believe, if we had some questions.
I just want a clarification, Mayor Crowley. I want to make sure I didn't mishear anything. Is there a time sensitivity here in which that you need this? We don't have a regular meeting for another week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I do want to make for the record, it be known that we did have an email that I believe all the commissioners received over the weekend from Deidre Altick in opposition to this change in zoning, just because of some of her concerns that she had stated. I'm not going to read that as I haven't before, but it will be public record so if anybody would like to read it or see it, they have the ability to reach out and request that. So. Commissioners, at this point, what would you like to do? Would you like to, quite frankly, this is the first time we're actually having this discussion. I certainly would like to spend some time on it and review it at least for one more study session.
I agree. I think that I appreciate Jenna's presentation today, but I also think that there may be citizens who watch this for the very first time and have questions, and I want to give them a week to ask those questions and have those answered.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll have this discussion again next Monday. I believe that's May 1st, so on our study session agenda then.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, that'll move us on to item 3, which is an application for minor plat to combine lots 10 and 3 in the 4th edition of the Northeast Industrial Park. Jenna,
Hi.
welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while. So this is a minor plat. So basically, we are combining two lots. We have 10 and 3 in Industrial Park. It's Hasty Awards currently sits there. They currently own both. They owned the first and have recently purchased the one that was just north of it, and would like to build a new building which is going to cross the boundary, the two parcel lines. And in that case, they need to replat. Next slide, please. This is where it's located in Industrial Park. Next slide, please. These are the two plats. 10 is where the building sits, and 3 is the one right above it. Next slide. This one's, I don't have as much reading to do. And this is the official plat that they've sent over for your review. Do you have any questions for me? And we covered this briefly. I'm not sure that I've covered all the things we need to here, but.
Commissioners, any questions for Jenna on this item?
This did go to Planning Commission and was approved for consideration here. And there were, it was 6-0 in favor.
Is this another one that you would like to put off till next Monday to add to the agenda, just to further some discussion if necessary in the interim?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll do that.
all right.
Mr. Finch, I'm sorry, did you want to add anything to it? Not at this time? All right, great, thank you. All right, item 4 is a review of our monthly reports. Commissioner Graves?
I don't really have any questions, but I do have a comment, and I just wanted to thank the police department. I feel like sometimes things, people have questions about what's going on at so-and-so and why police cars are here, and they've been doing a really good job about getting their media releases out pretty quickly, so I appreciate that information, and that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Kaler?
I don't know what I'm going to do without Commissioner Skidmore here, so, and I feel like any question that I would ask, I feel like he would come back and have to ask 4 more questions for me, but financials look really good, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Commissioner Clayton?
Well, I was going to mention the same thing about the investments and all of that as well, since Commissioner Skidmore is not here. But I know we say this every month, but there is a lot of information in here. It's a lot to go through. And it's really eye-opening to see a lot of the work that kind of goes on that we don't see, especially if we're not driving down certain roads or in certain areas. But so it's exciting to see a lot of stuff that's happening, get ready for the summer. And I don't have anything other than that.
Great. I'll go a little more in depth. I believe I'm speaking vicariously through Commissioner Skidmore. On the operating budget, and Director Landis or even Rebecca, you could help me out here. I believe our interest rate before was always 0.03, and this is the first month that we see that the sweep account is actually in effect, and we're now at 3.25. That's awesome.
Sure that's not a typo, right?
Well, I hope it's
not a typo, right?
I hope it's not, but I'm sure I just heard a big cheer from Salem, from Commissioner Skidmore, yeah, that he's excited to see that too, so,
I can confirm that's not a type.
Okay.
There's no typing error there.
great. Great, no, that's wonderful, especially to have that kind of money in a 3.25 instead of a 0.03. I mean, that's a lot of interest rate that the city will accrue, so, wonderful. Great job to you two, and certainly for Commissioner Skidmore pushing you guys into doing that, I'm sure. So, the only other thing I have is Tiffany here, and I know she's not going to do this, okay. I was going to give her the opportunity to announce her November 4th band. I know she wasn't gonna, but just giving her the stage to do it, so. I was hoping here it was, that's actually why I was asking, so. Tiffany, there you go. You have the floor, do you want to
Tiffany,
announce
if
it?
you do it.
I can't announce it yet.
It's-
We have to wait until
Darn it.
September.
I knew you could.
September.
I know, that's why I was hoping to get a little.
He's waiting for the sign.
Yeah, yeah. Have we approved
September
that yet?
11th, we can announce.
All right. I don't have any other questions. As I ask every month, are there any department heads that would like to come up and tell us what's going on in their department?
I would.
Likewise.
Hi. Good afternoon. So this is my last report in front of all of you. And so I have some surprises. But to getting started with Ottawa Main Street updates, we now have committee chairs, as well as committees have been meeting pretty regularly now, and so that's great news. Sarah attended the Ottawa not the Ottawa, but the Main Street Now conference in Boston. We had our board meeting early last week now, and that was really awesome to hear how much she learned and gained from that. And then, yeah, pretty much our committees are just working hard. And as this is my last report, I'm wanting to thank some people that helped me along the way to make an impact over the last 9 months. And so is it okay if I bring some guests up here and recognize them? Cool. Megan Olmstead, do you want to come up here? Jasmine Roybal, and then Brock Chapman are all here with me today. Megan is the one that put together those beautiful, beautiful videos that we've been able to do. And so her help has been amazing. And we recently went around to all the businesses and got to hand her card out. And so if they would like to continue on with that, they have her contact info. And so Megan has made an awesome impact on those videos. And we have heard really, really awesome things from those. So thanks, Megan, for all that you've done. And then Jazz and Brock are OU students that have been working on those social media posts for those 4 businesses around town. Jazz was in charge of the CBD shop, Crabtree and Brown, those social media posts. And then Brock was in charge of the Take It Outside social media posts. And so truly, I just wanted to bring them here and showcase young leaders in the city of Ottawa. If given the opportunity, they can make something absolutely awesome and make a really big impact. So I hope to be a proponent for young leadership in this town, as well as these 3, as well as many more young leaders are in this town. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to showcase that. Thank you, guys. You guys are all good. If you don't want to stand up here in awkwardness behind me. Awesome. So, yep, I've been working with Megan on putting out a Not Lost Brewery video, so that'll get up here pretty soon. The marketing club, unfortunately, OU students have to go home, I guess. It's summer, I guess. I never went home, but I guess that's okay. And so then during the month of March, we also held our very first ever Main Street Shamrock Hunt, where we had hidden shamrocks in different businesses, and it helped get people in one business and then into another business and all that kind of good stuff throughout the month of March. As well as the corners are now mainly all decorated and cleaned up. So that was fun. We did that this past weekend. And so I worked on that in March and April. There are still a couple of corners that need to be picked up, but those will get here done very, very soon. Maybe they were just waiting for the warm weather to come. Let's see. That's pretty much all I got. I really wanted to thank my board for giving me the opportunity to show Ottawa all I had to offer, as well as all of you, especially Commissioner Graves. Thanks for taking a chance on me and letting me show Ottawa all I had to offer. This job has been amazing. I can't even put it into words. So thank you for allowing a young leader to just offer the city something new and something different. So I think that's all I got. I'd be happy to come back at any time if any of you ever need me. This definitely isn't the last time you'll hear from me or my name, but thank you. And I've loved my time here on Main Street. So if you don't have any questions, that's all I got.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment, Olivia. Thank you. Thank you for what you did, you've done for Main Street and what you've done for the city of Ottawa. I was sitting in my office the other day and you were walking across the street and you laughed. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one that heard it, but it's infectious. It truly is infectious. As soon as you laughed, I noticed it was you and I just smiled. That's what you do, I think, to the people that you're surrounded by, and it's wonderful to have folks like you in our community.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you very much.
I agree, and I wish we could keep you forever and be selfish, but I know we can't. So, but I know I'll get to see you around and continue meeting with you on occasion. So,
Absolutely.
So I look forward to that.
Absolutely. And if you guys ever want to rope me into any projects, you know,
Careful what you
you know
ask.
how to get a hold of me.
This is being recorded.
This is going to be the first time that I only have one job and no school. And so I don't really know that I'm going to not drive myself crazy.
And if you're here for the whole time, there's some board seats open.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
wait
make
around a few
applications.
minutes. We have some
Yep.
few things we have to fill.
And I do just want to say, obviously serving on Main Street now, filling Emily's role with you has been great. Just some of the things really have been awesome downtown. And I want to say there's students in here from OU. And normally when it's high school students, they're forced to be here. So it's really nice to see people here by choice. So
Absolutely. Well, I may have forced
You may
them.
have.
I may have.
That's,
I did give them plenty of time in advance. That helps. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other directors that would like to come up, or if there's any online that would like to mention anything that's going on in their realm?
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
This is Terry Chartier with the Ottawa Library. I just wanted to let everybody know that Lori Clayton, who has worked at the library for 25 years, is retiring at the end of this month. So her last day here will be Thursday, April 27th. She did not want to have a big public party, but we are celebrating by handing out her favorite candies at the Cirque and the Reference Desk.
Oh, good.
So stop by, tell her thank you, and please bid her goodwill and best wishes on her retirement.
Thank you. Any other directors? All right, as Commissioner Clayton stated earlier, and I've stated month after month, there's a lot of information in this packet that's public record, that if you would like to read about anything that's going on in our community, there's a lot of information, whether it's the correct information from the police department instead of the stuff you hear on social media, or anything else, you know, whether it's the library or anything that's going on in our community. There are 60-some pages this month, 66 pages. So there's plenty of reading material and a lot of great information. So directors, thank you, and thank your staff for all the hard work that you guys do every month for getting us this information. And like I said, to the community, it's great information, and you certainly could enjoy it. So, all right, that'll move us on to item 5, which is our 2023 reappointments to the city boards and commissions. Our city manager is going to talk to us about that.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, the memo in your packet outlines the city boards with the terms ending this month and those that have agreed to reappointment. The board openings are listed at the bottom of the memo, and they do not include those who have agreed. So we have the vacancies at the bottom and those who have agreed to reappointment up above. Additionally, Gloria reports that we are advertising on Facebook and the city's website, as well as the chamber email, to request volunteers for interested individuals to serve our community. The deadline to submit the applications for the first round of interviews is May 1st of this year. And they can click on ottawaks.gov for a link to the applications.
Great. Just for the public's knowledge, we have two openings on the Accessibility Advisory Board, one on the Construction Board of Appeals, one on the Library Board, and one on the OMA Advisory Board. I would like to personally thank the 13 folks that actually decided to run another, to do another term. One of them is Cal Lantis that is here, that's going to do another 3 years on the Planning Commission. Thank you. And I'd like to thank the other 12 that are on this list for taking time out of their lives to be a part of our community and to make our community better. So thank you all. All right, that'll move us on to comments by our city manager.
Yes, sir. Mayor and City Commission, just to kind of keep you apprised of some of the highlights that have gone on over the past week and what we have forthcoming in your May 1st and May 3rd agenda packets. As you're aware, we've put a couple items on for the May 1st study session from this meeting. We will have the Police Week proclamation at the May 3rd agenda packet for May 11th to the 17th, as well as the Community Action Month that was approved at this meeting. We'll also have a presentation at the May 1st study session for chickens. We've delayed that until Commissioner Skidmore comes back to the bench. We also have 5 positions currently advertised on the city website for vacancies. We have the accounts payable specialist, the assistant city clerk, the development assistant, street maintenance worker 1, and water reclamation facility operator 1, and those can be reached by going to ottawaks.gov/employment. I'd also like to highlight that our accounts payable clerk, Ashley Hurd, took a transfer and is now the planning assistant. She had been doing some of that work part-time, filling in both roles, and was just a natural fit. And so it's nice to see that we have an organization where folks are provided an opportunity to flourish and improve themselves and find something internally within the organization that they can strive to serve and keep moving. And we like that because that helps us retain good quality people. I also want to point out that our new building inspector started today, Chris Loader, and he comes with all of his qualifications and is day 1, so I'm happy because I'm no longer the newest employee in the organization. Also want to point out that the police department received 8 new Motorola in-car and body cameras. That was approved in the 2022 budget, but was deferred to the 2023 purchase, and Chief reports that they should be deploying those within the next 60 days. And he's also bringing me up to speed with the flooding issues related to the law enforcement center. So we may be talking about that in the future as well. And then just want to remind you that we'll have an exec session at the May 1st study session for matters related to security improvements at city facilities. So that concludes my report, if there are no questions for myself or any of the city team members. Thank you.
Thank you. That moves us on to comments by our city commissioners. Commissioner Graves,
I have no comment.
Commissioner Kaler,
None at this time.
Commissioner Clayton.
I will only make a short comment. Terry hit on it. I didn't want to make too big of a to-do, but I'm excited to get a new employee when my mom retires. So she doesn't know that she's volunteering some time. So the library will be missing a valued asset, but I'm gaining one. So just publicly want to congratulate her.
She knows now, right?
So yeah, don't tell her I said that, though. And that is it.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, I had a discussion with John Devine about possibly having a retreat next month due to the fact that we have a new city manager. I think it'd be a good idea that we sit down with him and have a discussion on what we think the near future and beyond that looks like to us. And we can discuss that with him directly. John and I talked May 17th. I know that's after our 10 o'clock meeting. Would commissioners be available for that? If not, you can certainly get back to us for times and dates that might be, and then we can mesh them together to find one that fits all of us. John thinks it'll take 3 to 4 hours. I don't think it'll take that long, but that's all dependent on, the discussion we have. So if you guys want to just think about that for a little bit and send some ideas to our city manager on times and dates. I know John's open all next month except for the 10th. I know we're all busy too. That's why I'm trying to see if that date works, and if it doesn't, what day would. So if you could just think about times and dates and get that to our city manager, I would appreciate that. That moves us on to announcements. May 1st is a study session here at City Hall at 4 p.m., and then May 3rd is our regular meeting, 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Is there anything else to come before the commission this